Good morning. Happy Sunday. Dang, the music is much lower than I thought. Hold on, guys. How are you doing? Maybe you have a coffee or a tea this morning. That's a little bit better. Y'all, this is how you know it's early. I don't have a chart pulled up, you guys. I don't have anything pulled up. I have the music though. Come in here. Let's where do we want to put our candle? We gonna put her. How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? Let's pull the chart up. When I don't have like an elaborate thing set up, I just take a simple white candle. This is what I'm always on about, y'all. See, we have a little, I would call it, I think I call this size like a mini pillar, right? It's like a pillar candle, but it's only a couple inches. And I will just reuse. I love to reuse over here. We be reusing everything, okay? What? I'm waiting on it to load the chart, you guys. Please excuse, I have sniffles galore, okay? The pollen is just insanely pollinating outside. Like, you know how when it hits you and you wake up and your eyes are crusty and everything's, yeah. Oh, hello, you guys. We have an Aries stellium. Mm-hmm. How are you, how are you doing with this Aries stellium? We have, why isn't this clearing from my screen? What? This type of stuff drives me crazy. Is it just me, or have you guys had weird glitchy tech? I don't know what I mean, I get it, to be honest with you. It's kind of random, but I mean, I kind of get it. We're preparing for Uranus to go into Gemini. Pluto and Aquarius, I mean, it's going to be glitchy tech like the next upcoming decade, I'm telling you. But it's just been weird lately. I don't know if anyone's experiencing that, but I think I'm going to go with sweet orange, and I will literally just drip a few drops on the top of the candle, you know? Candle tips 101. If I didn't have to be shuffling cards, a lot of times I'll take my fingers and kind of dress the candle, you know? If you really want to get very particular, which you don't have to, honestly. Your intention is the most important thing. But if you like, you know, oh, I like to do it the most right way. What is it they say? When you dress the candle by pulling it, the oils and the herbs down, it's like drawing things to you. And when you dress it by like pushing up or pushing away, I think hopefully I'm not doing that backwards. I just do my own thing. I've always been that way. What's our combo going to be? What else do we have? Okay, I'll take that. A little citrus with some majorum. That smells so good. It's like grounding, mental clarity, creative inspiration, clearing the mind. We got, oh man, listen, get into this sweet orange and sweet majorum. That smells so good. I always like, if you're into essential oils, I always feel like sweet majorum is like, or marjoram, someone was saying, they say it like that. I've never heard anyone say it like that. But we're down here in the southeast, honey. We say majoram, okay? That smells so good. But I always felt like it smelled like freshly cut grass. It's such a grassy smell, and I love it. Ooh, with that pop of citrus, though. Let me go get my Bic. Hold on. All right, here we go. I had to grab my wand, you guys. I thought I would just check in with you this morning. I'm trying to get up and get an early start. I have some schoolwork to complete and other things to get done today. But yeah, I forgot I had these candles still over there in a box and I was cleaning. Have you been spring cleaning? It's been a vibe. You know what though? The way this camera is set up, I guess this is just a... You know I can't touch it or it's going to start sliding. I think I'm going to switch them though, because I like to be able to see the flame just in case it tries to be acting out. Yeah, we'll take that. Okay, I like that. Can we do this without the camera stand getting angry at us is the question. Hold on, guys. I know, hold on. Look, there we go. That's nice. I like that. I have to adjust it and get us just right. I need to, yeah, obviously, right. I need to do that before I get you guys on here. But you guys hang out. You're chill. And I appreciate that. What is the rundown? Let's look at the planets. Let's see what we have going on, you guys. Happy Sunday, by the way. Thank you for being here and hanging out. This is your first time, or if you are part of my soul family, part of my soul tribe, thanks for being here. You guys know if you're curious about working one-on-one with me, if you're curious about my candles and oils, events that I participate in, just hopping over to my website is going to be always the best landing space, because then you can get all the information you need. You can learn about my tarot teaching school on the school platform, the literal SKOOL school platform. Yeah, so check all that out. I just thought we should call in our ancestors, our spirit team, our higher self, and share some messages here. Get you a smudge. I know. I know. I know. Listen, there's been some things this week. I understand. Is it going to let me load the chart that I like, you guys? How are you doing? We're about a week out. No, is it almost 2 weeks? We're on the outside of the post shadow time frame, right? Mercury coming out of retrograde. I really have felt like a notable shift in the energy. Have you felt it too? Like more inspiration, more clarity. Of course, we are going to be building our way up to towards, we have a full moon. It's on the 1st, right? Wouldn't that be Wednesday? Yeah, the 1st would be Wednesday. Yeah, so we have a couple days. We're building up to the full moon. I feel like it went by so fast, though. What the heck? I literally feel like it was a blink and we went from the new moon to the full moon. How are you guys? I would definitely advise, with this many planets in Aries right now, and we've been amping up towards this, and of course we know it's so huge that Saturn and Neptune are a part of those planets that are also in Aries. You may be looking at, do you have houses that have a lot of Aries energy in them? You may be looking at your house that Aries rules. You may also be looking at your Mars placement. Because Mars and Aries, divine masculine energy, sometimes you can look at your Mars placement and kind of understand, okay, if I'm feeling a lot of this energy in my body, or a lot of inspiration to create, or let's go get things done, you know what I mean? Sometimes sitting with your Mars placement and what aspects your Mars can teach you a lot. But yeah, the house of self, Aries, 1st house, your rising sign, those are great places to look right now. How do you kind of show up to the world? We always teach in astrology that the first, is it 6 houses? Those houses are about you with you. And then once you start moving into the rest of them, it's you going out with it, right? So check out your 1st house if you have access to your own chart. And again, I'll just say, if you're like, I don't even know where to start, I would love to teach you about your chart. You can check out my website for that. I've been talking and working with people one-on-one definitely about this Aries energy, because it can, if you're not creating places to express yourself, whether it's creatively in the work that you do every day, your body needs good, healthy movement. Although, honestly, it really depends on what your Mars is, and some other factors, right? We all have unique incarnations of how our soul energy wants to express itself. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's different. But when we have strong fire right now, yes, we've got that cooling effect, right? We still have this beautiful cooling effect of having the North Node in Pisces. And let me just say, here's what I love. If you're kind of feeling like, ooh, my friend the other day was talking about my temper's feeling real short, and I totally get it, friend. I really do. But remember that collectively, Mars is actually in Pisces. So we love to see Mars being in Pisces. It gives, how do we say, it feels more, it gives a flowy type of effect to all of this cardinal fire energy. It's kind of like, what's a good example? I feel super inspired to paint, right? But then you don't necessarily press yourself to the point that you get chaotic and impulsive because, gosh, I have to do all the things. I mean, by all means, please make time to channel outlets of creative energy. We don't all have the soul contracts and the journeys in that we get to do, how do we say, your soul passion may not be your job, you know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean I'm not doing it right. It's just different paths for everyone. But in whatever ways you can, give yourself spaces to move the energy through your body. Just be mindful, especially Saturn, bones, blood, Aries, muscles, circulation. Sometimes when Saturn, when you're talking about astrology in your body, when Saturn is in Aries, it's almost like an uncomfortable tension because Aries is like, let's go spark the trail, let's go. And you got 10 tabs open and you're running forward. But Saturn is wanting to, let's say you have combustion in an engine, right? But Saturn wants to give you the gears. Saturn's like, look, if we pop off this big gas, this fuel, this fire horse, this combustion, which I taught about this in the Spirit of the Fire Horse module. It's a really great one. If you follow me on Facebook, be on the lookout because I'm actually making an event where I'm previewing a lot of content that you get access to. So if you're a part of my soul tribe, my family over there, check out my business page. The goal as April unfolds, I'm going to be doing different events where you can preview the material. But I'm just saying it's a perfect connection because we literally talked about this and I wrote and taught this in the module, right? Because Saturn wants to give you some gears. So it's great to maybe understand, again, when you learn about your own Mars placement, you think about the fact that Mars is still in Pisces, but Saturn is in Aries, right? I mean, the sun is too. Hello, right? So is Venus. So we're very excited and we're inspired and things are beautiful and spring is blooming and we're like, yes, new timelines, let's go. I'm just thinking about our bodies though, because we're going to have a lot of energy kind of gearing up. And so just be mindful if you're finding like different physical activities. I am not your coach. I'm not your clinician. Just have to issue those disclaimers. You have to be responsible for your own body. But I do know that I wouldn't be surprised if there's like sore joints, torn ligaments, hip, bone, certain type of tendons, connective tissues, blood circulation, because if you're going too fast, too hard, this would be like, yeah, a big commitment this year in these new timelines is for me to revamp my health. And I love that because we've been doing that Virgo homework, right? But let's say you pick a routine without maybe consulting, you know how you join the gym and you get 6 free sessions. Like, take advantage of understanding what your body needs, because you might decide you want to do a running program, but you don't tear yourself up, or you want to start getting into lifting weights, or you do yoga, but you go way too far, too fast. And then boom, you have an injury in a joint. You fracture a bone, whatever the case may be, right? You're running way too much and you're getting your blood pressure all out of whack. These things can definitely be happening when you think about astrology in the body, right? So that's definitely something to be considerate of. At the same time, though, I'm telling you, I would strongly encourage, be stretching. thinking about your fascia, your tendons. You want to be, again, Mars is in Pisces, the North Node is in Pisces, so we want to channel all this fiery Aries energy in like a healthy, very flowy way, right? What do we got this week, you guys? Today's the 29th. The 29th to like the 4th, yeah. Many people may be, of course, preparing to observe different. We're not religious over here. Love and light to everybody on their own path, though. No judgment, right? Yeah, people will be working towards the whole Easter weekend and all of that. Easter, Eostra as a goddess, whatever you observe, right? We can connect the wisdom in a lot of different ways. So that'll be definitely an unfoldment of energy. But tomorrow, what do we have? The 30th, we have Venus going into Taurus. I love that so much. It's very like sensory pleasurable. And, I always teach people in their chart learning about their Venus. You think of Aphrodite and beauty and love and sexual energy or creative energy and romantic connections. That's definitely a part of it. Venusian energy, though, which loves to be in Taurus. Hello. I think we're going to get a lot of grounded steadiness, but it's sensory pleasure. Like I always remind people, you have 5 senses. What is it that you love to eat? Is it healthy? Is it organic? What do you love to see? You're just like, man, I love to see certain trees and flowers blooming in the spring. Okay, what music calms that kind of amped up energy from Venus and all these other placements having been in Aries, right? So I love to see Venus is going to shift in Taurus. It's very beautiful. What else do we have? Saturn sextile Pluto. That's happening right now. That's been happening this weekend, which is big. It's huge. Put a pin note in that and come back to it again. That's big, big restructure energy. Okay, listen, I love that you've planted these seeds. You have a long-term career goal. You have a long-term degree goal. You have a long-term business collaborative goal, health goal, whatever it is, right? Pluto in Aquarius partners with this Saturn and Aries energy because it wants to make sure you've got a good structure. It might say, I love your business goal. I love your long-term career goal, but these patterns are still kind of hanging on in a stuck, stagnant energy. Pluto in Aquarius wants us to help liquidate, right? Things that would be blockages to the long-term goals. So we like the Saturn sextile Pluto energy that's been happening this weekend. Obviously, we know that Mercury has gone direct for sure. We're finishing out that post shadow time. So I really feel like it's almost like I don't know, clouds rolling back, foggy mist clearing out of the way, right? What's our moon been doing? Okay, moon in Leo today. I like that. That's good energy. Social, creative energy, right? The moon's going to be in Virgo, tomorrow? Okay. Sometimes I feel like, though, when we can get caught up in tracking the moon, I'm just looking at the chart, but, yeah, the moon, of course, is always going to be moving a lot quickly, and obviously will be at the full moon, on Wednesday, so definitely notable positions to think about is Venus being in Taurus and considering, Saturn sextiling Pluto, right? So those are big placements, I would say. It's really interesting dynamic, you guys, of like having a lot of high energy, feeling super driven, but then balancing that out. Venus is going to help us in entering Taurus, kind of getting a grounded, good focus, right? Yeah, we have Uranus in Taurus too, so that's a plus. But yeah, that's kind of the rundown of the energy, you guys, that we're looking at for this week. I'm scrolling through the chart. How have you guys been feeling in your body? I would be so curious to know. Are you having like joint issues that you haven't had before, or what I could really see, and I know I've been feeling this for my own self, is like, you know, it's just the shift. And this is how the unfoldment of new timelines, the elevation of all these maturity and all these learning, these lasting lessons we've been doing with Saturn for 29 and a half years, especially if you've already had a Saturn return. I feel like your energy, wow, somebody needed an extra smudge this morning. There you go. Get into it. I know. She's burning steady too. Look, you know how sometimes you can't get the, yeah. I know. You know, what I was going to say though is we're shifting where our energy and our attention and our focus and our stamina. I don't know. I want to say stamina, which is interesting. For example, you're like, man, I've been working on my health journey. We've talked about this before, right? I've been working on my health journey for years and I became a great runner, but now I think, my body is catching up to me, or it's time for me to change directions. Now I'm getting into calisthenics, or now I'm really flowing into yoga to kind of help my body recover. And it's never to say, or like, wow, I'm entering into a whole new, maybe before I was studying X, Y, and Z for a long time, but now I'm going to get into the tarot and alchemy study. It's a shift. And I would encourage you to kind of be a little soft again while it's like this fog is clearing. We still have this energy that's kind of not quite super linear yet. We're still kind of letting things take new shape. Okay. So whether it is, and don't doubt, I don't know, Spirit is wanting to say, like, don't doubt that you planted seeds, because for sure you have, right? It's a bridging process once again when we open up to new timelines. I also want to encourage you to be mindful, right, of the fact that there's going to be so much propaganda. There's so much that is projected. When timelines, in the nature of the energy that we're in as a human collective, in all our different communities, all our different countries, all our different, you know what I'm saying? When timelines that have been very ugly and not well behaved, and these energetic frequency fences and so many things, we could use a lot of different terminologies, right? When they're dying, and this is going to be a process, right? Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for like 2 decades total. And again, I'm going to keep giving you the reference of like a toddler finally realizing that their way is not going to be given anymore. People realizing that as we wake up and call in our new life that we want to live in authentic individuality, right? At the age of Aquarius, when energy, this is the law of cause and effect. I mean, we could go into the the laws and such, right? But that's how it works. You sit and you call your power back to yourself. You no longer give attention and hold space for certain things. It kind of snaps a rubber band, and naturally it becomes time. It's like deciding, you know what, I'm not going to carry your heavy backpack on my back anymore. Is it at your job? Is it in your relationships? Maybe it's you with how you treat yourself. It very much could be. That's always the work we do. Taking it back to Venus energy, I always teach Venusian energy starts within you first, because how you see yourself projects into your experience of reality and what you think you're worthy of experiencing. How you look at yourself, how you look at the earth, how you look at things as what is beautiful is going to define what type of things are then attracted to your beauty. You see how that works? So it's kind of the same concept, if you can make that connection, right? And again, just the nature of a lot of timelines, and you're just like, well, I'm hearing someone say, it's like, you use this word timelines a lot. Yes. Okay. An ending of an era, you could say. You could compare it to that. A lot of people, who thought they'd be able to do certain things and get away with them forever, or to treat certain people a certain way and get away with it forever. The way that businesses are evolving. We can't just do the same shit all the time. And that's a timeline ending. You see that? People waking up and saying, I don't think we're going to be accepting these type of relationship dynamics. That's why you're seeing people really practice separation from really, Spirit is saying like really ugly, heavy, dense familial karma. If you've done your alchemical work, if you've practiced your own healing and self-awareness and you pull away, or maybe it's even, because I work with people one-on-one all the time. And it's like this energy of, yeah, I'm just not going to be doing that anymore. What do you mean? You've worked in that career for 25 years. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, when I work with people one-on-one, it's always this energy, right? And this is how it hits. I totally get this because it's very Aquarius over here. You're sitting with your local Aquarius astrologer, and an Aquarius will vibe with you the best on this type of energy. Yeah, you know what? Emotionally, I was separating from this job. I was separating from this person's connection, this friend group, this spiritual teaching, whatever it is, right? I done been had a tower moment like twice. I've just been allowing the karma to come to pass. I've been allowing myself to cut cords. I've been allowing myself to become, detached with compassion for sure. And then hear me out. Sometimes you don't got to detach with no compassion, but that's a whole different conversation. You don't owe nobody. You can just detach, but I digress. And yeah, it's when you begin to walk forward on a new, remember, what were we saying? Decisions or portals. You're starting to step through those portals. It's a natural rubber band boomerang effect. And so people are going to have to walk their karma out too. So understand, you're going to see a lot of backlash, Let me tell you, let me get the Unfolding Path Tarot because it has been so good in personal readings. I've been journaling with this one a lot this past week. It's been beautiful. Yeah, don't take... Spirit is... Okay, the message that I'm getting from my guides... over here, we work with my spirit team, ancestors, and guides, both galactic and earthbound. We call in the David Nature Earth spirits, we work with energy that's in service of the highest and best good and harming none, okay? Just to clear the intentions on the table. But everybody is not going to be liking this work you're doing, and they ain't trying to always do that work. But at some point, you get really serious about cultivating your perspective. You get really serious about choosing where you want to put your energy. And then everything starts to shift, and you start to see confirmations of that shift in your reality because that new timeline, because those new portals where you've made those choices. I'm seeing the Five of Pentacles card, like when you're turning away from a certain life and you're looking up to the lit up window. Because look, what was that? Okay, yeah, I know you saw it try to flop out. Look. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's a gorgeous card. I love to see the Sun card coming out. It's like the light gaining momentum. You guys, do you know what that makes me think of? It makes me think of how in meditation, I've had so many phrases come through. In meditation, I don't know, have you guys ever experienced this, right? Sometimes when I meditate, and if you've been here for a while, I've kind of told you about my journey where I decided to actively engage in my dream space, and I developed this whole thing, and we all have different routines that work for us, just mine, where I would program myself and then lay down. It'd be early in the morning. I would receive these messages, write them down, right? Because your higher self is so powerful. You just have to tap into the connection. The Sun card is so beautiful though. Look at that. But yeah, so now my new experience has been in a meditative state. I will I guess clairaudience, right? I will literally hear a phrase and then I'll try to say out loud what it is I'm hearing, which is super weird. Let me just tell you, it's very uncomfortable, but if you embrace it, you might shock yourself. Maybe for you, it's more of an, some people will have the same experience, but they'll write it down in an automatic writing way, which is really great. Sometimes we can block ourselves from getting a linguistic type of download because our brain overthinks the fact that wow, what language is that? And then we kind of get off on a tangent because we think with that monkey mind. But it's been interesting for me. The way that I've been doing it is just, I'll try to say out loud. But if you're going to do that, I really want you to be like open to just letting your mouth move through the words. Because a lot of times, let's say you only spoken one or two languages your whole life, your mouth feel will almost kind of try to put it into something to make sense of it. But a lot of times in my experience and study of like people receiving clairaudient messages, me channeling things in people's reading, just different experiences, right? Things will come through from your higher self and they'll be very phonetic. On this side note, Spirit is saying a lot of people may be experiencing a lot of downloads from the light. When I say light, of course, don't get lost. I mean, you can't, if you like the spiritual woo-woo of light, I love that for you. Don't let nobody talk you down off that just because they don't experience it like that. I hate that. But if it helps you feel a little less crazy, mind you, who the fuck cares? Let's get real crazy out here in a good way. But in a scientific way, photons, photonic, light energy, neutrinos, all of these things that are able to be measured in a scientific way, you are absorbing this light in your body. We could even have a whole side lesson. We have the sun card on the table. The sun literally gives you little energetic packages. Hello, you absorb literal vitamins. Okay, but in the same way, with all of this Aries energy, especially Neptune and Aries, activating with the sun in Aries. Again, the sun card, we could do a whole sidebar on the sun's journey, the certain phases, the life cycle of the sun and what the sun has been going through in its own personal evolution. Planetary, I don't know, energetic evolution, maybe, right? So we absorb that too. So, for example, you're walking in nature, you're going on a walk with your dog, and you're hearing some kind of phrase, and you're like, what is that? Write it down. Type it on your phone if you need to. But a lot of these things will come through and be very phonetic. You know what I'm saying? Literally write that shit down. Get real kindergarten level with it, I'm telling you. And you will be shocked. Your higher self will be giving you messages if you are open to receive them. You might hear something that sounds like, I don't know. What's an example of a phrase that I was hearing? Hold on, because I pulled up my notes. I've been studying this because it's been happening so much this week that I started making lists of words that I heard repeatedly. What was one? Ayah is one that I heard, like ayah, in my head. Okay, so your brain wants to be like, what? But I literally just, I don't know, I wrote, A-I, what did I write? Well, hold on, let me see, y'all. A-I-Y-A-H. Stay with me because we're going somewhere. Because I think that really, when you think about Aries and a higher ascended, like way higher tier of vibration, it's very much like, imagine your crown chakra is open super big. We always talk about those stellar gateways. So your tiny personal sun, that's what I'm getting off the sun card, is very open right now, if you allow it to be so. Now, mind you, please practice grounding, because with all of this Aries frequency right now, including the huge factor of Neptune being in Aries. Neptune hasn't been in Aries, hello? For like 165 years, dude, that's huge. Saturn hasn't been back in Aries. Saturn been over here doing his 29 and a half year journey. So this is big. And you can really tap into some huge downloads. And what I tell people sometimes when they share their experiences in one-on-one work, these illumination type of, okay, what are we hearing? Okay, Spirit is taking us back to when Jupiter was in Gemini. Again, we talked about telomeres, we talked about DNA, we talked about expansion, we talked about mental neuron pathways. All of these energies being absorbed through your crown. That's very high elevated Aries, spiritual warrior, open to a high level frequency. And it's a brand new, we're not at the 0 degree mark anymore, but we're still right at the 1s and 2s. Okay. With Saturn, with Neptune, and then, of course, we have all these other Aries placements, too. It's only amplifying that, right? Yeah, your tiny personal sun, which would be your seventh chakra, your crown up there, right? So perhaps someone feels drawn to do meditations where you're guided to open your crown. Again, please, as a caveat, because I've been through a lot of apprenticeship, shamanic, witchcraft, lots of different teaching works, please understand if you're digging into this and you're opening to channel, receive messages from your higher self, please set your intentions when you do that. Please be very specific about what you're connecting to. Vibrate with the energy of your intention in your body when you do that. And then do protective measures, okay? Have you learned how to meditate and ground yourself with a cord? Have you learned how to visualize protective animals or protective trees? Do you have a gemstone that you hold on to? Have you charged something to make sure that your physical and etheric, emotional, and psychic bodies are protected? Do that work, okay? Do that work. It's just important. But okay, so back to the word that I kept hearing. This is a good example. So you have to trust yourself, okay? So I literally I was like, I don't know. I'll write it the best way that I think. And I typed a little note in my notepad, as I do on my phone because I'm walking outside. And then I come back and I write it down in my journal. And then boom, you come back down into your body and you learn, what was my higher self giving me there? So for example, when I started studying Aya, now mind you, I don't know Cantonese. I don't know Sanskrit. I find that a lot of words that I hear in meditation in this space lately, it's been a lot of Sanskrit, but I digress. I'll study that in my own way, right? So Aya, the way that I spelled it, it was Aiyah, right? So I learned, here's just an example of where your higher self and your spirit team and the energies of this beautiful sun, your crown, which is so powerful. You probably don't give it near enough credit. I learned that Aya is, what were the notes that I was writing? Aya in Cantonese is a highly versatile expression, often used to signal surprise, realization, a release of tension. So I learned that Aya is like this phrase where you kind of say aha or something like this, right? Or you say Aya, like you're sitting down, it's been a long day and you took your shoes off and you're just releasing the tension of the day. You say Aya. So that was really interesting, right? Like, who knew? Okay, and so I dug a little further. And this is the way, you see how we're doing this? This is how you connect with your higher self, which resides up there in those higher chakras and those gateways, which are opened up to, or should we say from the crown, right? This is such a perfect card to have wanted to come out. Aya in Sanskrit, it says, can also refer to a respectful address for a teacher or a master. And then if you spell it Aya, it can mean like the arrival or the coming forward of. So it was this whole energy of like an arrival of luminous light. It's very interesting. I heard some other phrases, but you have to sit, it's you with you and you with your higher self. We all have these beautiful individual journeys, different soul contracts, different things we came to experience and anchor in. But even just doing this work with yourself, it's always a reverb back to the collective. And so let me make sure it's not getting that too hot. Okay. So to any degree, when you're simply just being with yourself in this receptive, open way, you are doing work for the collective that helps anchor in these higher timelines, right? So I love that. That's really beautiful. This makes me think too, because of the nature of the energy we're talking about. You already know I'm going to say it. We're going to go over to Chris Ann's Light Seers Tarot, because I remember we've probably read it before, but the Sun card, thank you so much, Spirit, by the way. Thank you so much to my ancestors, our team and higher self, our multidimensional self, the way that these messages come through, just offering gratitude because of the synchronicity. Look at the beautiful circle. There's a lot of completion. There's a lot of joy. Okay, Spirit is saying, can you choose joy though? Because you know you can choose that, right? Even, and I will always argue this, Because let me tell you as a sidebar, you already know it ain't always been light over here. It's a lot of hashtag me too. It's a lot of dark nights of the soul. It's not been sweet and pretty and butterflies and rainbows. So when you come across a person like me who is telling you to choose the timelines, to be joyful, to be even more so amplified in your sun spirit energy, right? In times like this, is because what the fuck we gonna look like all crashing down into the bottoms of the darkest lows? We just gonna be like heavy anchor weights pulling the timelines down. That's not what we do. We go up. You know what I'm saying? You already know, what is it? When they go low, we go high. You have to. That'd be like being, Spirit is saying, that would be like being on a ship that's sinking and everybody turning into anchors. What's gonna happen? That shit is about to sink way faster. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're going for. Not at all. Okay, so I wish we could. We're just going to do it like that. I'm not trying to sit and keep holding that card respectfully, okay? The sun is, I'm choosing to be happy. And then you know what? As a caveat, I'll tell you, I'm choosing to be happy because I've been in way worse places. And the day that they get me to stay down in those places is going to be never. Because why? You're going to tell me I incarnated into the density, but also the beauty of this human experience on Earth School just to be sitting in all this terrible, low vibrational, stagnant, ugly energy? You have a choice, right? Let's go back to your choices are the doorways through those portals. Do you get what I'm saying? I really get frustrated with, now I'm not telling anyone they have to come over and be in my experience. We're all in a unique individual experience because we're co-creating our own reality, whether we're doing it in a self-aware way or not, right? That's alchemy at its finest right there. But now the thing is that goes both ways. That's duality, okay? That goes both ways. I am not a fan of people like shaming other people because they're choosing joy. Am I sticking my head in the sand? Am I delusional? Am I not in reality? Do I completely ignore No, that's not what I'm talking about either, because we got to have balance. But I'm talking about if I have a choice of the energy I'm about to bring to the table, I mean, come on. You gonna tell me you could have picked 3 compliments to tell a person that day and instead you decided to do X, Y, and Z? I know you better get rebuke. You rebuked. I'm not even trying to hear it. And again, I'm about to read to you from this beautiful writing that Chris Ann did with her Light Seers Tarot, because the way she articulates what I'm talking about with the light is very beautiful. But it's a choice to see it that way. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'll digress. I'm just saying, please don't do a thing where you shame yourself because you're trying to stay positive, because you're creating, because you're choosing new timelines, because you say, well, if I go out and do the thing that my soul and my authenticity and my individuality in this age of Aquarius, if I go out and do that, don't shame me for that. We need, look, I know I'll be a broken record over here, you guys, but we need artists. We need teachers. We need spiritual people. We need motivators. We need people who love animals and children. We need people who will stand up for certain things. We need, because that is the new frequency. But if we are allowing ourselves continuously to just fall back into the propaganda narrative, crash and burn with the timelines that are destined to die, you're just going to be dying with them every day. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. But you know, I do have a Leo rising, so I know that works in my favor. And I have Mars and Venus in fire signs. Oh, y'all. Don't get me started about how all this Aries energy is sitting on my chart right now. But it's good. I have constructed for myself in the nature that Saturn has prepared for me. I've constructed myself containers to receive abundance, to pour my creative energy into. What do your containers look like? Or maybe you would say, do you have fertile soil where you've planted seeds? Okay, well, get into that. You know what I mean? Get into that. Okay, so let me read We have to read it because it's so on point with the crown chakra, the high vibrational, the different ascended level of Aries frequency, right? It's so on point with all this cardinal fire energy that we have for the sun to be out. So this is what Chrisanne writes about her. You can find all this in her book for the Light Seers Tarot. You can also find it on her website. I always send people there who are learning about the tarot, or even if you're not, if you may have been doing tarot for 2 decades. I love her beautiful perspective when you use it in your experience of the tarot. If you choose to view it that way, that's on you, right? Okay, so she writes, only in these moments under the warm sun does she feel totally alive. Her heart chakra vibrates, her solar plexus radiates, and that's solar plexus, heart chakra. We've been talking about the heart, the blood circulating around your body, Aries energy, right? Saturn, the blood, the bone, the Spirit is saying the DNA of your ancestors. Your DNA at any time, it has so much latent, dormant information just waiting for the moment where you either intentionally meditate and activate it, or things in your environment and what you surround yourself with will activate different things for you. So your ancestors, even the galactic ones, all kinds of ancestral DNA laying there and dormant, and we can activate, and we can choose how we mingle this light into our experience. You see, her solar plexus radiates and she feels nurtured by sunlight and by energy of life itself. She steps into her power and her confidence, and she calls out to the small photons. You see, I know, this is how I know Chrisanne knows things, okay? The particles of light and heat that burst forth from the sun. But those are the same particles that are in you. And even if you could get, we love to get a little nerdy, environmental science nerd out with me, you're eating the plants that have absorbed the sun. You know what I'm saying? You're drinking the water that has absorbed. Okay, we could go on and on, couldn't we? She calls out to the small photons, the particles of light and the heat that burst forth from the sun. And she imagines them showering down all around her. Have you ever done the meditation where you invoke the cone or the whatever of white light around you? Right? This is exactly that frequency. They're showering down all around her. They create the most spectacular patterns, cascading frequency and tone, and filling up her energy body with the most vibrant life force. Each minute particle comes bundled with tiny bits of information. Have you ever seen how some of this medical technology works, and how it has to do with different wave frequencies, different light frequencies, going through different mineral-based, sometimes literal quartz stones, etc.? It's the same principle, but that also happens in your body. Do you get what I'm saying? And the sun, imagine what the sun is receiving, because the sun receives from the Sirius binary stars, right? Sirius galactic energy, and then above that Alcyone. So you can only imagine when you tap into the sun and connect with your higher crown chakra, you visualize yourself circulating this light through your body. However you do that visualization, you can do a guided meditation too. It's called the middle pillar of light. You can check it out. There's beautiful versions. You can do it as simple as you want. It's a very, very popular and long practice in many different teachings, in many different, whether it's pagan or shamanic or Kabbalah or right, we could make whole lists, but even in Sanskrit, a lot of phrases talk about invoking the divine light frequencies. This is what we're talking about here, right? Each minute particle comes bundled with tiny bits of information, patterns of knowing, states of being, the capacity to love, and an overabundance of magic. She begins to dance, hearing the messages held within these ancient bundles of joy. She can't see them, okay? But she can feel them flooding her system. This is what Chrisanne writes. She feels connected to this positive frequency, and she celebrates under the spinning heavens, opening up to life itself. I love how it's written as the spinning heavens, because it also makes me think of the fact that we're in a 10-year. I know also a 1 year, absolutely. But the wheel is spinning and you're ascending And where are you choosing to project your energy, right? Yeah, it is going to be chaotic. I'm not going to hold you. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be hella chaotic at times. But you learn how to work with that. It becomes very powerful, right? That's the Fool. That's the Magician. She writes, the sun breathes life into everything he touches. He creates a path of illumination, love, and harmonic abundance. This card is a joyful celebration and a vibrant sign of positivity and success. Call on your warrior energy. I love that because Aries is a spiritual warrior, right? I know this normally, traditionally, the sun rules Leo, but the sun also rules all of the fire energy as well. So, still very appropriate. It's very much a magnetic hum. It's like a pull to what is being drawn towards you. I was listening to this podcast of someone who talks about astrology and intuitive astrology, and she had someone on, and they were having this conversation, and it was something to the effect of, what if the whole gag was this timeline that's unfurling right now with Neptune, with Jupiter, with the whole backdrop of Pluto and Aquarius? Please don't miss. We haven't tapped in, and really, we need to do a little outer planet review so that you don't miss how many outer planets are shifting signs. Like, whoa, not only in the last couple years, not only in this year. And then we throw in that, what is it, A1 AI Atlas? I always mess up the name of it. That bugs me, though, because now, hold on, Spirit. What are we getting? Is it AI Atlas? Because Spirit is giving me something like the sun is a star. Yeah, obviously. But all of this, like, what are the odds? Is it? Hold on. AI? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. What if Atlas? Anyway, a lot of times I just say Atlas, but I think it's 3I Atlas. Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm using the right. Yeah. Hold on. Where is, because I think there's something here. Where is the comet 3I Atlas? Because here's the thing, and you can get really science and astronomy about it, and I love that for you. We love a good salad bowl mix over here. But the thing is that when we talk about astrology, we are mirroring the energy in the cosmos here. We're just a form of the universe dancing down here in this dense Earth school. But this whole interstellar visitor, right? You can't not take it into consideration when you're talking about esoteric, mysticism, astrology, as far as intuitive. It's really powerful. A lot of people talk about sitting and intentionally connecting, because you are not separate from all that is, and they're connecting with this Atlas body. It's very fascinating, too, to note that it's in the constellation Gemini. Hello. Maybe this pings for you and you sit and connect with this energy. But it is really interesting, because then Uranus is going to move into Gemini, and boom, you think of all of these tiny photonic light packages and frequencies and waves of energy that our bodies are receiving. It's just another layer of, what are we saying, Spirit, like a catalyst energy. So perhaps you might find energy to connect to, again, not just the sun, but the grand central sun and the tiers of energy that feed into the sun, right? The Father, Ra, divine masculine energy here in our little neck of the cosmic woods. Okay. I think for the most place, you could really refer to it as a comet, probably, but there's a lot of debate, right? But it's pretty amazing. I'm just saying, it's another layer on the cake, right? Of, whoa, everything that's going on right now, and then boom, what are the odds? Wasn't there some sort of... I'm trying to see. I'm trying to find this article. Oh, okay. Because this reminds me, in this podcast conversation, they did mention this whole planetary body comet, Atlas moving through. I want to say right now in March, recently, within like the last couple of weeks, it was moving closer to Jupiter. I'm correct. But I'm looking at scientific articles. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just channeling in a space because Spirit is taking me back to their conversation. So, you can fact check on that. I'm not saying I'm quoting it. I want to say in March, the whole orbital path thing that they were talking about with all these other big, huge outer planetary movements. Like, there ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about everything that has shifted. Saturn, Neptune completing these huge cycles, Pluto making a big move as the backdrop before all this started happening into Aquarius, right? And then boom, here we go. I think this is what they were talking about. It was later in March. This article is talking about Earth reached its closest distance to the actual path of the comet. Now, this is Earth moving. I'm not talking about like the comet itself, right? And now I think it's getting closer to Jupiter, which is really fascinating because Jupiter is going to kind of receive those activations and then later in the summer move into another fire sign, which will be Leo. So it's very expansive. It's so fascinating to consider. So on the note of that, they were having this conversation about, okay, no, we're not going to pull any more from that. Okay. We're going to do an oracle card. Okay. They were having this conversation on this podcast and they were like, imagine this, the cosmic energy, the wave frequencies, the photonic activities, everything that we could possibly be receiving right now as a human being conscious collective that's elevating and ascending, right? What if everyone was like, oh no, the black box operators, the frequency fence managers, stay in your fences, right? So what if we are receiving all of this information that's so powerful? I'm telling you, once in a lifetime planetary stuff going on. And that's whether you read astronomy, whether you read astrology, we're talking about once in a lifetime energy. Okay? Anyway, you crumble that cookie, friend. And they were like, what if they said, oh my gosh, we have to create all the agendas of distraction possible. I mean, you name it. I'm not going to say the W word, but you name it. We got to throw it at them. We got to crack down on them. We have to, because damn, they're going to wake the fuck up heavy. Okay. And this is what they were going on about in the whole podcast. And I was like, I can see it. But imagine throwing everything at us that you can and we just get back up and we pick up our torches again and we just keep meditating and we keep choosing positive. We keep, you know what I'm saying? It'll be like, dang. Y'all think they broke out the fences. We ain't going to be able to get them back in. You get what I'm saying? So that's interesting that the Atlas comet or planet body, comet energy wanted to come through. It is also interesting to think about the fact that it's moving in the Gemini constellation right now. Where was it before? Now I want to know. I want to know. Can you tell me? Some astrologers view it as a cosmic messenger or catalyst for collective awakening to release old stagnant cycles. Yup, because all the other planets said we going too, okay? The comet entered our system from the direction of Sagittarius, but will exit through Gemini. Wow. Some interpret this intuitively as a bridge between universal truth and human understanding. Yes. The Ketu archetype. In Vedic astrology, comets are often linked to Ketu, representing spiritual breakthroughs, sudden reversals of fortune, and removal of illusions. Nah, not with Neptune leaving Pisces at the same time. Do you see that? Wow. You can do like real-time live trackers too if you're curious about that. It's kind of interesting. Of course, there's plenty of material if you want to connect in a very spiritual and your own intuitive mystic type of, you know what I'm saying? If you want to connect to the energy of that in your own way, there's so much material to read about people who write from it. Astrologers, intuitive, spiritual mysticism and stuff. Very fascinating. But again, it just enhances the crown chakra connecting to higher stellar gateways, right? Okay, so we're going to close. We're going to get a Seasons of the Witch Ostara Oracle. Thank you for hanging out with me and just kind of tapping into a rundown of the planet energy and channeling. Beautiful sun as our tarot card. How lovely, how appropriate. We're getting a little bit more of that sunlight back each day, right? Our bodies love that. It's okay to rest too. We need the winter too, but it's very beautiful opening of energy right now. All right. Did y'all see it? And I feel called. Didn't this come out the other day? It did. This landed straight on top of my hand. I'm going to stay with this. And that came out the other day. Hold on, guys. Child. Goodness gracious. Goodness. All right, friend. I'm going to fix these. But I'm just going to sit them right there for now. Woo. Spring rain is also on the top. What awaits will water the resilience that evolves amid surrender. That's beautiful. Oh, shoot. Moon milk fell on the table. Wow. Okay, Spirit is saying read moon milk. Okay. It fell right there, literally. But Floromancy did come out again. Right, we had that one come out the other day. I might reread that one just to, okay, ooh, that irritates my OCD. But that's all right. We're going to fix them in a minute. Okay. Number 24, moon milk fell out literally right beside the sun. Moon milk says, there is nothing like the medicine that comes from the ritual of yourself. Ooh. That's beautiful. Let's do it kind of like that. Yeah. Let's read the message of moon milk. It says relaxation, peacefulness. There's that Mars still flowing in the vibes of Pisces. Relaxation, peacefulness, grounding rituals, and stress relief. We literally opened up talking about grounding with all this fire, right? Moon milks are a warm, soothing, grounding, and nutritive-rich drink often used as a way to unwind at the end of the day. They are traditionally plant-based and can be customized with various herbs, adaptogens, and spices to promote sleep, better digestion, increased immunity, or general stress relief. In addition to their contribution to better welfare, they are incredibly comforting. Having a daily moon milk ritual or grounding ritual of any kind, right? Walking in nature, doing your meditation. Well, it depends on how you do the meditation. It may not be grounding, but gemstones, a spirit bath, a foot soak. There are so many choices, right? Or even candle work. You can set your intention for grounding, but you get the point, a grounding ritual, right? Having a daily moon milk ritual or a grounding ritual of any kind will give you something to rely on, especially during the times when it feels many things are beyond your control. Hello, this whole year, what the fuck, right? And I do, again, I love that we have the sun card with a lot of focus on the crown and all those downloads and activations, but then we have grounding. So Spirit is saying we have to be balanced with it, right? These are moments you can manage by deliberately creating any type of mood or environment that supports your holistic well-being. I love this too because I was listening to someone, I don't know, channeling, who knows? I'm always listening to my, who knows what at any given time, but she was literally yesterday talking about, like this message of, when Spirit is asking you to wait, or your higher self is letting things unfold, and we don't always have all the answers, as we're not meant to, okay? Because we need to experience the journey. That's why you line up in line as a soul to get to incarnate on this crazy, chaotic, raw ride at Earth School, you're not supposed to be knowing everything all the time. You know what I'm saying? But she was just teaching about you pick things that you can do. You know what I'm saying? Um, you can choose to take care of your health. You can go out and get some sunshine in nature. You can do mindful grounding tasks in your home. You can do some spiritual clean. You get what I'm saying? You can do certain things, okay? These moments you can manage by deliberately creating any type of mood or environment that supports your holistic well-being. You are being guided to prioritize more moments of traditional self-care. Things such as sleep, eating foods that are rich in vitamins and minerals, exactly, meditation, drinking more water, and you can get into your water, you can stack your water, you can do your fruit, you know what I'm saying? Make a mindful ritual of that. You can speak intentions into your water, you can get into that. You can control that, right? Isn't that beautiful how that works? Drinking more water and gentle but restorative movements are all supported upon pulling this card. This is your invitation to turn your focus on yourself, listening to your body and its current needs. Additionally, you are encouraged to establish a practice of returning to your bliss and peace of mind. You may also consider taking a mental health day by yourself to recharge. You know, we have a lot of Fool's energy too in the season that surrounds the spring and the spring equinox, especially the endings of March, leading into the beginnings of April. Beautiful time to make it a self-care routine to spend a few hours by yourself on a Saturday doing a little fool's journey walk or doing sporadic drives, and maybe you do your mindful ritual with your fruit water and you speak your life into it and pick a gemstone, and then you go out and you're just like, who knows what trail we're going to hike today, but we're going to get out in the nature. You know what I'm saying? That's how you cultivate those things that you can control, and then you magnetize experiences by setting those intentions. You see? I think we are going to reread Floromancy, though. It's just crazy that popped out right on top of my hand. And we read it, it came out the other day, so it's kind of like a reiteration of the same message, right? Such a beautiful card. Keywords. It says, it's time to escape all the noise. Dang, the message is loud. To be quiet. It's time to escape all of the noise and become still with the guidance that is pulling you inward. Keywords, what signs are there? Following intuition, letting spirit guide you. We literally were just saying that Fool's energy, right? It's joyful, it's childlike, just like the Sun card. Okay? This makes me think too, in some of those messages and downloads I've been getting in meditation, it makes me think, I'm not going to tell you all these phonetic phrases, but basically I was sitting and translating a lot of the Sanskrit words. It was wild how many of those things were actually words that I was hearing, but this message was coming through, which was something to the sense of, at the end of the day, I was working through like 4 different phrases, but the message came through of something like, the arrival of luminous light that comes within a deep sense of silence. So interesting because it's really in alignment with this message here. Have you ever pulled flower petals while saying they love me not? This is a form of floromancy, something many of us have spent countless hours doing in our youth. While it may have seemed like a silly schoolyard game, it was actually your soul pushing you to let spirit guide you. And receiving this card is your soul again calling on you to listen to your intuition. You may have depended too much on external forces to offer you the answers that are already residing in your consciousness, right? That's you unpacking those photon light download gifts. But you can't hear them if you're caught up in all the other noise, right? It's time for you to realign with your magic and trust that you know what the right call is for your situation or your choice, your career, the relationship, whatever it is, right? Think about your first thought or feelings about someone or something. Did you notice anything like a shape, a color, a word, a symbol? Did you hear something? You know, I'm going to tell you, write all that down, right? It may have felt silly at the time. Yeah, just like me being like, I'm not hearing a word. Am I crazy? No, I'm not crazy. And then I was like, oh, shoot, it's a word. Okay, have these moments with yourself. It's beautiful. It may have felt silly at the time, just like the innocent days of pulling flower petals, but allow yourself to reflect on the signs you have collected, and in doing so, cultivate a sense of inner knowing. Cultivating a sense of inner knowing is really big. The most straightforward guidance for this card is to dance among the flowers, listening for answers in nature. Mother Earth is always whispering to you. You know, I'm going to tell you, she's the energetic grid that can never be hijacked. No one going to hijack her, okay? You can always rely on her to purify and cleanse your energy when you sit in silence and receive messages from your highest self. Always, always, okay? You might hear something on the wind and look up and see a butterfly dancing in the sun, or walk along a path with a flower that you just happen to know corresponds with your situation. Okay, that's beautiful. So I love you guys. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoy a wonderful Sunday. We're going to be working up towards our full moon next week, so take good care. And I look forward to talking to you soon, okay? Love you. Bye.